get into this, and I'll welcome our friends from Wynter joining us, because first and foremost, among this group, Wynter is the biggest supporter that this community has ever had, and even as we were first talking about them being supporters of the community and sponsors of it, I joined as a panelist, and I've been very impressed. I love it. I love the kinds of questions that are being fielded through there. Like, activates a part of my brain I don't always get to use, or I get to critique some work that isn't my own or my colleagues, and so you can be a little more just open-minded and critical in a good way, right? Because there are plenty of things I'm rating 5 stars on there, but it's just like why does this work so well? I can see others work, and I'll admit it, I like the gift cards that come in after, and I put them right in my Amazon account, so when I'm doing my Amazon groceries, or now buying holiday gifts, then it's like, oh wait, this is already covered. Then it's just some added feel good. So I was also just very excited because it is one of those rare win-win-win companies. You win whether you're a panel member or a client, and I'm just so grateful, whether it's with the holiday season or any time of year, just to have companies like that believe in the community and appreciate the audience we have. So I'd love to hand it over to you. And this is one of the problems of dealing with all of this over email. I'm wary of mispronouncing your name, and so I will let you introduce yourself, and then share a little bit more about what you're doing. We'll have a conversation, and I know it's been a bit since we've done some of these community chats, and I would love to bring them back more often for next year. But by all means, this is a conversation and not a webinar. So as you have something to chime in, unmute yourself, put something in the comments. You can write me directly if you have something you want to say. If you just use the emoji, this is all about getting feedback, and so please share yours, and don't treat it as this broadcast conversation. So this is a community event.
Yeah, thank you. So my name is Viljo. It's a strange Northern European name, so most people can't pronounce it, especially in the US. And that's totally fine. I heard 8 different versions of my name, and I keep a list because it's so cool when I can add another version. Anyway, I'm happy to be here. I'm from Wynter, and it's a B2B message testing platform that brings together companies who want to test their messaging to see if it really resonates with their ideal clients. And we have a bunch of different ways companies can test their messaging. We have customer surveys, and they can test their emails and web pages and whatnot. But this conversation today is not about what Wynter exactly is and how we help our clients. It's more about building a community, because the only way this a tool can work is bringing together people who are willing to give feedback to others, and then also the client side, companies who want to get this feedback. And I'm here to also ask you to join Wynter's community. It's as David already mentioned, this is a nice way to make an extra buck, but the main reason why especially marketers are joining our communities it's a strange thing about marketers, that they really like to critique others' work. They like to give feedback, and this is a way for them to maybe vent a bit, but also share their experience, because it's also so cool to see that the many people who give this feedback through Wynter, okay, the money is nice, but actually they are there more to learn what other marketers are testing, what other things they are struggling with. For example, they're working on a cold email campaign, and this is maybe meant for other like product marketers, and they want to really know like what is their, like, for example, they have a draft ready and they want to know if this resonates with their target audience. And then they put it on Wynter and they get feedback like, is it clear enough? Would you buy it? What's missing? All that kind of information flows then through Wynter to the person who wants to get this feedback. And it's only possible when we have our feedback givers, and of course then also clients who use Wynter. So I had also a presentation prepared, but I think as David mentioned, I think it's better when we have a conversation maybe about messaging in general, and I'm here to answer your questions. What makes messaging work? How does Wynter work? What are maybe have been our key learnings when we have run this business? So I'm basically here to answer your questions, but also, yeah, as already said, I have a little presentation. So,
and if there are some visuals you want to share, by all means, and maybe especially if it comes up in response to other questions. But I guess just the first thing I'd be curious to get your position on is, where does Wynter fit in with focus groups and other kinds of market research?
Yeah, it's a very good question, because this company grew out of need, because I was in the CRO, conversion optimization space for 10 years. So 11 years back, me and my business partner, we founded a conversion optimization company called Spiro. And basically what conversion optimization does is we turn traffic into conversions. We optimize landing pages and sales funnels and everything that is connected to marketing by gathering a lot of qualitative data and analyzing all of it to make improvements and A/B test it, and everything that is connected to that. But like what we saw, what were the kind of the tests and improvements in marketing that really moved the needle, like really worked for our clients to increase their revenue and customer lifetime value and whatnot, were mostly connected with motivation, like not usability, design, all that kind of stuff. It was secondary. Everything was connected to motivation, like the messaging. Like, was the value proposition good? Were the benefits good? Like, what the features, what the clients needed? It was all about the communication and the messaging. So, but it was super hard to get this input from the clients. Of our clients, because you might like run the customer survey or try to put together a focus group, but all those things take time. That's one thing. Another thing is also those are quite expensive, because someone has to dedicate, I don't know, like a few hours even to participate in this focus group. So focus group prices are quite expensive. Yeah, we're talking about like at least like 5K to 12K, depends how senior those people are, whom we want to get to those focus groups. And then we really were looking for a way to get this feedback in fast to improve messaging. And we started to build basically a database from scratch, from different audiences who could give input for our clients, for the conversion optimization agency. And then we saw that actually we could turn that into another business, to build a platform, like a two-sided marketplace, where we have people who are willing to give feedback and also clients then who want this feedback. So this is how Wynter started. So focus groups are still important. I think there is no replacement for like getting your clients into one room and spending time with them, presenting your ideas and products and seeing what they will think and react to what you were trying to sell. But it's quite expensive. It takes a lot of time. What Wynter does is that we will get this input for our clients within 48 hours. So whenever you have like a new campaign coming up, let's say next week, then there's still time to get feedback, to improve your copy before you launch, I don't know, a huge campaign. And when you launch your campaign without testing your messaging, you might waste a lot of money. So that's why I think it's so crucial to have this feedback coming in fast. Yeah.
And so then, for the feedback that I've given, a lot of it looks like the landing pages and the that I've checked out. They look very polished, and they look like something that absolutely might be live right now. But are the marketers come to you when they're still really early on in the process, or more that it's like it's already out there and they want something to do better, and then after that, let's take a look at Brady's question, and if it does make sense for you to share any visuals for that, then by all means. But I'm curious how far along in the process people tend to be at when they're coming for the testing.
Yeah, it depends. There are many use cases, because sometimes our clients want to do ICP research. They really want to know, they know who their ideal clients are, but they want to know what are their key pain points. So they could use the same language and really concentrate on the pains of their customers. So this is it's a survey, and they do it usually before they start to create cold emails and landing pages to use that input. But sometimes, and I think in most cases, they want to know that, okay, this is our main landing page. They get maybe millions of visitors every month there. It's such a huge gateway to their business, and they want to know is that working? Is that resonating? Or they are just losing people on this page because maybe they are talking about something that is not relevant. So I guess that's usually the main use case. Sometimes it's a sequence of tests. They get some feedback to their current pages or emails and whatnot. Then they change the copy based on the feedback. They run another round of message tests to see if there was any kind of improvement, did they solve the problems? And then they use the same ICP, ideal client profile, but different testers to see what those be same people, sort of, but different people. And then they run a bunch of other tests to iterate and improve what they already have. So it depends on the use case, but yeah, in most cases, people are very keen to see how are their the high traffic pages resonating with their clients. So usually that's the best use case. Yeah.
Great, thanks. And so Brady was asking, I guess, a bit more of the nuts and bolts. And even if you want to talk a little bit more broadly, then still fair game to talk a bit about exactly your process. And and David Cutler, following on with the relevant question, you might be able to address at the same time in terms of minimum traffic. David, if you want to clarify if that's minimum panel respondents you need, or just or if there's any other criteria you wanted to make sure we're covered by that. Viljo, I'll let you start addressing Brady how you see fit.
Yeah, so okay, so I addressed the traffic question. So a cool thing, so when it comes to testing, running marketing experiments, so two kinds of experiments. You can do A/B testing, for example, where you use an A/B testing tool. You have one version of your copy, for example, and maybe a few other. You split the traffic between those versions, and you measure your key KPI. Might be a landing page conversion, might be a purchase, might be a sign up, whatever. And then you can run this test, and the testing tool shows you like who is the statistically significant like winner, who produces more of your KPI. But for that, you need a lot of traffic. And this you can't do before you launch a campaign. You can't do it because like when you try a new landing page design or like messaging or ideas or emails, you can't do this testing. Also, as you know, with emails, you can test headlines and then copy automatically. You can just add a bunch of versions to your email marketing tool. It selects out the best converting one, and then the kind of takes that one and sends it out to everyone else. So, but with message testing is a cool thing that you don't need any traffic at all. You can be just like a startup or a company who doesn't have any traffic, or you want to do like pre-testing, as we call it, before you launch a campaign, because you can just select out like, and usually like a message test includes 10 people. And there are like some research out there that says that like 10 people will bring out like 3% of all the problems that are on a landing page or within your messaging. Like after that, adding more, maybe you get more precise answers, but there's nothing new. And this I've seen also myself, that you don't need like a sample size of 100 people giving you feedback. Like 10 is usually enough. So you need only like 10 people giving feedback to your page, and that's a good amount of feedback. You make sure that the signals, that the feedback is valid, because if you have only like one person giving you feedback or two, like they might just be biased, or maybe there's no pattern. It's just one person. It might be their opinion. So basically for message testing, you don't need any traffic. But yeah, most of our clients, they are like quite big companies, and then they usually focused on pages that have a lot of traffic, because the biggest potential is there. The biggest loss if they don't nail their messages is on high traffic pages. So that's why I mentioned the millions. But actually, for message testing, it's traffic is not needed. You can just do it with like passive emails and web pages that are not live at all. So okay. Okay, it's about granularity. So we have 50 different audiences, 50 plus different audiences available, which are the ones that get mostly most frequently asked from us. It's mostly marketing titles. B2B, SaaS, and we have developers, C-suite people, HR, finance, like people like that. And also our clients can like choose them based on company sizes, geographical regions, language, revenue, like the key metrics. But we can't go too granular. We could build out, of course, like, I don't know, like German engineers who work on washing machines. That's, I think someone has asked us something like that. But the problem is that, like, for us to build an audience, it takes time and also money, because we have to find those people. We have to invite them to join our panel. And then we have to give them enough like feedback sessions and message tests to make them to stay around. So if it's a very niche audience, usually there's no point for us to have those. So we can't go too granular. We still have to prioritize who are the people we want, and usually, yeah, those are marketing roles, because when we talk about like the general, like for example, B2B SaaS space, usually they sell to other marketers. Most tools out there are actually for marketers or finance or developers. Not a lot of niche businesses out there. There are, but we are not after them because the market is too small.
Got it. Well, so that's really helpful. And then yeah, and I just want to make sure everything with like that initial question in terms of like what the the process is like. If there's anything you want to share, and even if there are any examples of like reports or things like that you want to bring up. And
yes, we have example actually I can maybe pull up like examples of how does it look like. There's actually a bit of a problem here because the tests our clients run are confidential, which means that we can't share who the clients are and what was the feedback they got. But basically, how does it look like is that if a client of ours has, like, for example, a landing page, they highlight like 3 or more areas of that landing page they want to get feedback on. Usually it's the above the fold section, maybe also some features and maybe also like the about section or whatnot they have there. So they highlight those sections. On the next step, they choose the audience, like based on their seniority, like their role in a company, their title. And there are also some other criteria they can add, and then they just choose what type of feedback they want. Is it like is it a survey? Is it an open-ended question type of feedback session? Or maybe they just want to test 2 different versions of copy or 2 different versions of the web page, and then they just purchase this test and they will get feedback. Where like they have this section, and then people just open-endedly write about this section, or there are also like it scale questions where they get ratings, like how clear that feels for this audience, or like I don't know, is it resonating with me, etc. So it's very hard to explain something visual. I am giving my best. So there are some screenshots and that stuff on our webpage also, wynter.com. So you can look it up from there. I can also send everyone like a link or maybe also a demo that doesn't have any confidential information there.
Yeah, and we're getting a lot of demo requests now.
Okay, let me actually. Yeah, I can do that, of course. I can do that to show how it looks like. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen. So do you see my screen?
Yeah, it's here.
Okay, so basically, this is what our clients see. So first of all, they have to choose what kind of test they would like to run. Like the most popular one is a full web page test where they test their main landing page, usually a one that has a lot of traffic for the potential. But they can also run like an outbound email test. And we have a different surveys here. If they want to do ICP research, if they want to know what are the pain points of their customers, they can run a survey. Or they can also kind of zoom in and test only their value proposition. Or they can also run a test to see how they compare against their kind of main competitor. Then our panelists are seeing like 2 pages, their page and the competitor's page, and like some comparison is going on there to see like who is kind of better, who resonates better for an ideal audience. So I will take the, full web page test from here. Okay, we'll make our own web page. It loads a bit. Okay. So the page in. So now the client chooses sections of the web page they want to get feedback on. Like for usually it's the above default section. Then let's say maybe also maybe like this section here about features, and maybe also let's take another features section. Okay, so we have then question templates, so our clients don't have to figure out what to ask. So for example, they might choose to run a clarity test, like is their messaging clear? Is it there's a differentiation test, like is it different enough compared to competitors? Is it a resonance test, like are the messages that are being displayed, like are they relevant for people? Or like effectiveness tests. I don't know, actually, this is a new one here. I will take a clarity test. So this then like puts here a set of questions, like some ratings for those sections, and then a bunch of open-ended questions. Like for example, is anything unclear? Is anything missing? Like and like stuff like that. Okay, so when this is set up, it's time to select an audience. I will select the B2B audience, and let's say that we are after, I don't know, we have seniorities here, like a mid-level audience. We are after, okay, customer experience managers. So let's say we want 15 panelists, and here we see the price, and now we can just launch this test. So this is an account that is not a paid account, so I will not launch it because otherwise I have to sign up myself here. So, and this is how it works. After 48 hours, the feedback is in, and yeah, clients can read what their like ideal target group thought about their web page or email. So this was a short demo for you.
That's great. Well, yeah, and now that a lot of you have seen it, are there other questions based on that? Since this was a main request there. And
could you share, sorry, I'm jumping, could you share what it would look like? Would you have an example? I know you said you have, for competitive reasons, can't, but is there anything you can show us as like what does the person who sets up the test see, either while the test is running or at the end of that 48 hours? Can you share some of that?
You mean results?
Yes.
Yeah, of course. Let me see. I had sample results. I will look those up. Okay, sure. Okay, let me share my screen again. I think it would make sense when I send over like a report like of those results with screenshots, because currently it's I have to play around within the tool and I'm a bit afraid that there are some client names and tests and
Okay.
data we can't share. But also,
I understand.
yeah, it's a, and I'm sorry that I didn't prepare for that, because like the main goal for me for this session was to invite you to participate as feedback givers, to earn some extra money, to give some feedback to other marketers. And but it turned out to be like a product demo, which is super cool, because it's kind of a compliment that you are interested to see how the tool itself works and what are the benefits of using it. So thank you for that.
Yeah, we have a bunch more specific questions coming in. A couple of them like budget ranges, and then what does the subscription include? How many tests? Are they annual, monthly? How that works?
Yeah, we have monthly subscriptions and then the annual subscriptions, and usually, like of course, the annual when someone is on an annual subscription, the tests are a lot cheaper. They are just half the price. A monthly subscription starts from 900, which is not cheap, but also we have to take into account that actually most of that money goes to the panelists, to the people who are giving feedback. And in many cases, those people are quite senior. So we have to make sure that the money they get is also motivating. So that's why it costs too. But it's a lot cheaper than finding those people yourself or trying to run a focus group. Because also those people have already opted in, which means also that they are just waiting for a test result, a test invite coming in. And usually they provide feedback in 48 hours. So with annual subscriptions, of course, clients get all the test credits in advance, so they can run a lot of tests every month. And usually they don't even spend all the credits, because like every client also needs a message testing plan, and our customer success people are putting that together, because there's not real use when you just randomly test one page here and one email there. Usually it's an iterative process. So people run one test, they get feedback, they rewrite their copy, they run another test, they see how that works. Maybe they rewrite it again and again and again, every time getting more feedback to really nail it. If they see that they can't really move the needle anymore on one page, they go to another. So it's an iterative process usually our clients run. Maybe they nail their messaging with one target group, they go to another. They run a survey to really learn about the pain points, they craft new pages, they run tests, and so it goes. So message testing is an iterative process. It's not like a project that you do once. It's something that has to go on all the time, because also the competition is changing. For example, you might be your market leader with your tool or service, but maybe like after a quarter, like there will be a bunch of new competitors, and your clients have also other companies they are considering, and maybe you totally have to rewrite your value proposition. So that's another reason why our clients are doing message testing constantly and like repeating it once in a while to see if the feedback is still the same, or maybe maybe there's a new player they have to take into account, maybe they have to change the value proposition.
Yeah, and so I mean, I think one thing maybe we didn't even yet cover is on the feedback side, and you know, just because one of the things that also fascinates me is like first of all, like, do most people tend to stick to around the 15-word minimum for a given feedback, and is that usually enough for what clients need?
Yeah, it's a fine line between enough and too much. So because usually people we've seen that in 15 minutes or less, sometimes 10, like everything they have to say will be said. If it's more, usually it's becoming more like they will start to repeat themselves, or the information doesn't have any essence anymore. And that's also one reason why it's better to get feedback on the same thing from at least 10 people to see patterns. Because if you have a lot of feedback from one person, again, as I said before, this person might be biased. Maybe they have just a strong opinion about something, but maybe it's just noise. You know, it's better to have less feedback from more people than have a lot of feedback from one person. This is the kind of the rule. But usually, yeah, we've seen that this like 15 minutes people have to spend on one test that has at least like 6 to 8 questions is a good amount of feedback. The patterns will emerge. Actually, yeah, my colleague also posted a link to some example results we can share to show how the feedback looks like. So you can just check out the link.
And then, yeah, Michael's wondering if feedback includes markup on the page.
Yeah, it's when we talk about the full-page message testing, then yes, they are giving feedback to those highlighted sections. So what I showed you, like you highlight maybe the value proposition, maybe the benefits, and they give feedback to this specific question. But also, we have built-in questions about the whole, like the page area, like because we can isolate like benefits or the main value proposition or features, and it's good to get specific feedback on those elements. But also in the end, we also want feedback about the whole experience. Like, how does it all look like? What's the feel? Like, is it how does it look? Is like the general stuff is also so important, because in many cases, what our clients have discovered is that like sometimes they have like they nail their copy, like the value is there, but their like design and the whole experience looks too enterprise, looks too expensive, but they are after small companies, for example. And when those small company owners are landing on this page, they feel like, oh, it looks too expensive. Like it's most probably not for me. Like I have a small company, like only 5 or 10 people. So they leave. But maybe the copy works, but the look and feel is off. So that's why we always try to balance like specific feedback about some message elements, and then also we ask about the general experience, the look and feel. Those things always have to go together.
Yeah.
Okay. Specific question about the markup. So yeah, it's people don't like they can't like comment or they can't like draw on the page or do stuff there. Like it's a feature maybe we should also add in the future, because maybe it's more comfortable to write directly on the page, comment stuff there. But currently, yeah, it's the page, highlighted areas, and feedback is on the side, and clients see like, okay, this section, this feedback, like several questions, etc.
Yeah, and I appreciate the link to Spoina in term so we can see what the message test looks like. Yeah, and also for to that end, it just based on the kinds of questions we're getting here, if there's any other supporting information that be helpful to share along with the roundup, happy to do that with for those who are SVP and also others in the community.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. And in the end, again, I repeat my call to action to join our research panel. it's a great way to earn some extra money, and it's quite cool to give feedback to other marketers. It's I'm also like I work in this company, but I'm also participating actively in message tests. It's quite interesting to see what others are testing and what are the struggles, like what do they want to put out there. And giving feedback, it also makes you feel good because it's kind of doing something good. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I just put the link to join. That's also in there for those who haven't already. So, other questions that are useful for everyone here, and just I know some folks have to go closer to the hour mark, but want to make sure anyone else who has things that want to dive in deeper, and then yeah, just curious, and by the way, just like where physically, geographically, are most of your panelists right now?
I would say like 85% in the US, because most of our clients are there. We have less people in Europe. Like it's usually the English-speaking countries. It's the US, UK, Australia, less in other countries. But we have also run some tests in German, I think, but not too many.
And even in general, like you know, BL's got a couple of questions coming in, and so one is if someone joins, then like how likely are they to hear from you? I guess we'll start with that one.
Yeah, it depends what's their audience, like who they are, because we have a lot of demand for marketing people, because as I already said, most for example B2B SaaS companies are mostly marketing for other marketers. So product people, marketing people, e-commerce people, they get a lot of tests, let's say like at least a few per week. But if they are like more, let's say, niche people, like someone is, I don't know, like an engineer or works in agriculture, then most probably less. It's very hard to say how many tests someone will get, because it depends. Like if we have an active client who wants to get feedback from this specific audience. But usually, yeah, for marketing titles, like a few test invites per week is something. And there's an obligation to take those tests too. Like if someone wants to take only one per month, totally fine. It's yeah, it's up to the panelists themselves how many tests they would like to take.
And BL, great to actually see you. So BL was also asking the size of the average agency using the platform.
It's a good question, because like most of our clients are bigger enterprise companies who have yeah, a bunch of pages and marketing campaigns going on all the time. Because I guess as most SaaS companies, everyone wants to sell a subscription, and to make this subscription work, our clients have to have a lot of different things to test. Otherwise, the ROI is not there. So usually smaller companies are not a good fit. They can of course sign up with a pay-as-you-go plan, like it was $900 US, $899, something like that, and they can test their page. They can get their feedback, and usually that's totally fine, because and then they can maybe come back next year and run another test or whatever is needed. But usually we are a good fit for bigger enterprise companies who have things to test every month.
Great. And then Yeah, and then David was asking about this, the ideal customer profile, which you got into a bit, but I don't know if there's anything more you want to add. I know David wasn't there right at the start of the call, so. In terms of that ICP question you had, just
yeah, it's a B2B product marketer that we are after, because those are the people who have to make sure that they are bringing in the results, that they are successful in marketing their products, and the messaging in their work plays a huge role. They just have to make sure that it resonates, because those people are the ones who are also allocating budgets, and it's a huge risk for them, for example, to run a huge PPC campaign without any message testing, because their job might get compromised if it's not a successful campaign. So usually those are the people we are after, and those are the people who are getting the biggest value out of our platform. So B2B product marketers, enterprise level. But those are our ICPs, like for Wynter. For the panel, like everyone is welcome who works in marketing, because also those big companies are mostly actually marketing to smaller companies. So the feedback still can come from smaller companies and people.
And do you have any preferred industries that you're going after?
Yeah. B2B SaaS is, of course, e-commerce B2B SaaS legion, and it's not so. Those are not really industries. It's not so industry specific, because in many cases our clients they are marketing, like they have a tool that works for several different industries. So, but they are B2B SaaS e-commerce are the key audiences we are after.
Terrific. BL, David, anything else didn't cover yet that's helpful for you? And thanks so much for joining. It's terrific. I mean, we've got to say, was doing these a lot during the part of the pandemic, and as we shifted virtual, and this set a record for a number of questions asked. So so great to see all the interest here, and imagine we'll get a few follow-ups after, but appreciate you being so candid with what's going on, and I'm glad people wanted to dive so deep into Wynter.
And thank you for the opportunity. And yeah, we will follow up with some links and maybe stuff that we put into the chat there about the results, and also what does it mean to be a panelist for Wynter. We will also add that together and maybe send it to you, and you can then.
I'll be happy to share that, and if someone happens to be watching this on demand sometime later, just feel free to reach out to me. David@serialmarketer.net if for some reason you can't find me in the community or everywhere else, and I will gladly send you whatever accompanied this.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thanks everyone. Have a great rest of your day, and appreciate all you taking the time.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
Hey.